What's going on, New Canoe Nation? Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 50. We made it to 50. We're halfway to 100, boys and girls. I like it. And what better way to do it than our first female angler? I'm super stoked about this. We were supposed to do this a while ago, and I had to cancel, had a family emergency. My daughter was in a car accident. She's completely okay. And so finally we got it rescheduled. We got Sandi Kennedy in the house tonight. Excited about that. James O'Neill in the chat. What's up, guys and gals? What's up, buddy? He also says, I'm in a different place. I'm in the home office. I just got back from Florida. I went down there to fish the KBF event. I did not do good. Let's not talk about it. But yeah, I'm in the home office right now. So I'm set up here. I did a live show from Florida over on Paddle and Fin. Had a great time, caught some fish. It was a great time, but I had all the gear here. I figured let's do this out of the home office. I haven't done this here yet. I think on the New Canoe Show, maybe one other time, but yeah, going live from the home office. But enough about me. Hope you guys are doing great. Those of you in the Northeast, like our guest Sandi, hope you guys are surviving the snow that you got. I know Sandi's in New Jersey, and she said she got about a foot, but those folks in Boston, man, you guys got hammered. So I hope you guys are all right, surviving the snow. We got Nicholas Venable in the house. He said, sup. James O'Neill Tackle Warehouse shirt and the Douglas hat on. Yep. The Tackle Warehouse shirt is typically a work shirt. I mean, they're free. You don't care if you mess them up, right? So let's get our guest of the hour in the house, Miss Sandi Kennedy.
Hey, Brian.
Welcome.
The stars have finally aligned. We are together.
We made it happen finally. Yeah. I'm glad we did. This was something I was looking forward to. We talk to all these guys, and they're always telling us their fish stories. So we need to supplement that. We need to get some lady power in here and chat with you. I've been searching the New Canoe team, came across you a while back, and I was like, need to have her on the show for sure. So I'm glad we finally made it happen. Yes. And really looking forward to chatting with you tonight. Like I said before in the intro, you're from New Jersey. You chase a multitude of species of fish. I see some nice mounts there in the background. And all yours?
Not all mine. Some of the trout.
Okay, right on.
But my bass was bigger than his.
Okay, I like it. I'm a closet trout fan myself. Yeah. I don't really talk about it as much as I am passionate about it, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But let's start tough. Off. Yeah, they are, especially when you chase them with a fly rod, you know. But let's get a little background on you. Obviously you're from the Northeast, and how'd you get into fishing and then find a kayak to fish out of?
Well, actually, I'm from Camden, New Jersey, so I growing up, I didn't have any fishermen in my family. We never went fishing. My brother, nothing. My husband, he's actually the one that's the avid fisherman.
Okay.
He really got me into it. And our first kayaks were sitting kayaks. I'm going to be shamed right now. But, Dick's Sporting Goods Special.
We all started there.
It's rough.
It is, especially when you're as tall and as fat as I am.
You don't realize that at the time, though. You just think, wow. Especially, 10 years ago, we started kayak fishing, and really no one around here was kayak fishing.
Okay. So you've been doing it quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's awesome. So when did you find New Canoe and kind of get into news?
Actually, one of the spring sales that Bait and Hook had, our local dealer.
Okay.
I was scoping it out pretty hard, and Mark Savage came over.
Okay, yeah.
And he started telling me the specs on it, gave me his card, said if I ever wanted to demo it, just call him. And we live in the same town, so we could just drop it in a local lake somewhere. But the problem was I just bought another sitting kayak,
Okay.
and I couldn't I couldn't tell my husband like I think I want this kayak here. A little
But
awkward.
you ended up getting your way, right? You
Yeah, I
got it
did.
in a
I
new.
did.
What?
But
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it was probably like a year. I waited
Okay.
like a year before I actually brought it up.
I got you. I got you. So what was the first model that you got in?
The first one was the F10.
Okay. What do you like about that? Because it's weird, like, and I've talked about this before on this podcast. Like, it depends, like, what region of the country you're in. Like, people prefer the F10 over, for say, a Flint. Like down in the southeast, I know when we talked to Eddie McRae, and he's a dealer himself, and like sell F10 the hotcakes. Whereas like my local dealer here outside of Chicago, like we don't have very many requests for F10s.
Well, honestly, it was what would fit in my husband's truck.
Okay,
Like
all right, that's a good
we were
reason.
into 10-foot kayaks. That was it. So I saw they actually had an end of the year sale.
Okay,
There was a F10 and a Flint left. And I wanted the F10 anyway. Somebody was loading the Flint up into the truck when we got there. So that was pretty much it. Something that could fit in his truck we didn't need a trailer for.
sure, 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 sure. Are you guys still in F10s, or have you moved on to something different?
Well, I moved up to the Flint.
Okay, all
So
right.
I needed a little more speed.
I like it. I like it. I get that. I mean,
Yeah.
the first time I paddled the Frontier, I was like, man, this thing is so nice and stable. It's like standing on a boat dock, but paddling it was like kind of rough. Not gonna
It's a
lie.
bear. It's a
It
bear.
is. It is.
And I'm a
That
little
Flint.
girl.
Well, I'm sure going from an F10 to a Flint, that's like going from a minivan to a Ferrari, right? As far as like
Yeah.
paddling goes, like
I felt
way
the need for
faster.
speed. I really felt the need for speed. That's the whole thing. Like I like to say like no one convinced me to get a new canoe. The fish, the
Sure.
snakehead, they are the
Okay.
ones that dictated what kayak I got. And
Okay.
I really did a lot of research for a year. I looked at all the different models and it just had what I wanted. It had the deck space, the portability, it was everything.
Well, let's get into that because snakehead, that's been a common topic here on the show lately, and like I've never caught one. I'm not familiar with them, and it seems like everybody's got a different reason on why they like chasing these things, and they're definitely a unique fish, obviously invasive species, right? And it's kind of newer, so to speak. So I mean, what is it about the snakehead for you that you love, going after them?
I guess at first it was like the novelty because they weren't really like not too many people around here were catching them at the time. I first started fishing for them 7 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, 8 years ago, and I wasn't successful. So I
Okay.
tried for a whole year. I just could not catch one. But yeah, it's just and once you catch one, it's just like nothing else. Like it's crazy. It's like a roller coaster. It's the thrill. Like you could actually get hurt from catching these fish or something. My heart,
Well,
I get a little scared every year of
yeah,
catching.
I get it. I know Craig Brashears, he's in the chat. He said snakehead are
Mm.
just super fun. And when we had him on the show, he was talking about them. And then my man Nicholas Beltran down in Florida, he's like, they're just super aggressive, which
Yeah.
that seems to be the going thing. And I know those things got some pretty gnarly teeth on them too, right?
I actually broke one off by accident one time when I was trying to unhook it, and I kept it in my license pouch.
Okay.
Nasty tooth, little souvenir.
I like it. I like it. You gotta keep something from those fish.
Yeah,
I know I
exactly.
saw a
Because they,
comment. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they try to kill you from start to finish. It's a battle. Like it's not over until you like drop them off back. Well, I shouldn't say that. You're not supposed to drop them off back off into the water, but like to me, they're here to stay. They're established. They're not going anywhere. I've seen them with bass side by side. They eat each other's babies. Like I've caught bass off of the fry.
Of a
So
snakehead?
yeah, I mean they're in
Okay.
the Delaware, every tidal water. They're
Yeah,
really
that's interesting. Like, and I can see what you're saying there. I mean, bass and snakehead are both predator type fish. They're going to eat, whether it be bluegill fry or snakehead fry or whatever. But um, I don't think you're ever going to get rid of them. And
I don't think so
they
either.
they become such a huge species of fish, and it seems like they're traveling because those are the ones that can like go on land, right?
Well, they breathe air, so if like I mean, if chances are something dries up, they're still going to survive. They're going to climb up fish ladders, everything else, you know.
Okay, all right. I saw my man James O'Neill in the chat. He's like, "What the heck is a snakehead? I've never seen one." So I'm just gonna pull this up. Like you could see the gnarly teeth there, and I think I pulled this up during Craig Brashear's episode as well
I
when we were
do
kind of
remember that
talking about.
picture.
Yeah. So there's that, and then they got that kind of weird kind of. Let's see if this loads up.
They
Like
look like
this.
snake.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like a snake skin pattern.
Someday I
Uh,
will make some boots out of them.
I love it. I love it. There you go. That's how you get rid of them. You just start making boots out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely a unique fish and definitely different. So, like, when you're chasing these things, what kind of baits are you using to go after these things?
Well, I really like in the springtime, I like using something like subsurface, like an inline spinner.
Okay.
And of course, the summertime's frogging. Ribbit frog, that's like my favorite because you could like drag it across the top of the water. And sometimes they're like real finicky. And I've dropped the frog a little bit, let it sink, and then they took it. Because they're the kind that'll follow it right up to your kayak or right up to your feet. And they'll just look at you. They really will. They're smart. They are smart.
That's interesting. So they're kind of like a muskie, like
Yeah,
with a muskie. I know, and like you could do like a figure eight, and
I've heard
sometimes
people
that'll
say
entice
that.
them to bite. So you can
Yeah,
kind of do something similar like that with a snakehead.
I try, but most of the time, if they see you, it's game over. They're out.
Okay. Okay. So they're totally skittish when it comes to like
They
humans or
are.
boats or
Yeah.
things like that. Okay. All right. We had a great question from James O'Neill, and I love James, man. He's always in the chat. You guys, if you have any questions or comments throughout the show, drop them in there. We'll get them answered. He said, "Where did they come from? When did they start getting into the States?" So, just a quick Wikipedia. They are from Africa and Asia. I'm looking for a year when they may have gotten into the States.
2001 in Maryland, Crofton, Maryland.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I'm reading something here. It's Crofton, Maryland, 2002 it says.
Oh, I
Not
was off.
you were off by a year, but
Well, they tried to catch them in 2001, but they couldn't. And then they caught them in 2002.
yeah, and then it says they became permanently established in the Potomac around 2004 and then possibly established in Florida uh roughly after that. So, Um, they say that snakeheads have also been spotted in California, Delaware, Florida,
Really?
Georgia, Hawaii, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Virginia, and Rhode Island,
Wow.
and
They
New
were
York State.
worldwide,
Yeah. So, I mean, they're getting around, right? Like
nationwide.
you're not going to start them or stop them. So,
No, I don't think so. No, they say kill everyone, but they have so many babies. I mean, I'm sitting in a kayak, and I have this huge fry ball under me. The parents are like bumping me and knocking my kayak in every direction. I actually have a video of that on YouTube. Like it's crazy, it's insane. And from what you hear, they have babies multiple times a year. So
interesting. Interesting. So, multiple spawns. Let's see. We got some comments in here real quick. Let's make a run of these. John Walters says they are truly here to stay and are a true blast to catch. Craig Brashear says in Virginia you can release but must be dead to take home. So that's interesting. Have you ever like kept one and taken it home for like food fare? Are these things good to eat? I'm not sure. I've
I
never
ate
heard.
one.
Okay.
and it was really good. It actually was. It was like firm, like lobster meat,
Oh,
but
okay.
like the taste is like whatever you put into it.
Okay.
I don't think I'd be eating any more of those fish because like the swamps I fish in, like Jersey,
Sure, sure, sure.
I don't think I want to be glowing in the dark or
Yeah,
anything.
you might grow a third eye one night
Yeah,
or something.
possibly. And it's so weird. They're like, I don't know if anyone has ever eaten a bowfin, but if you got them and they don't have a head, the head's still snapping at you. And gutted, I poured some vinegar on it. It's like flopping around the sink. I'm like, all right, I ain't messing with this fish. I'm done.
Interesting. Interesting. Craig says you should try a white chatterbait. Works great in Virginia.
White, white, yes, that works here. Chartreuse.
John said they found him in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 2003.
Yeah.
Nicholas Beltran, like I said, he's in Florida. He said introduced from us letting go pets, just like all the exotic snakes and everything else you guys got down
That's
there.
true. They used to actually sell them in pet stores, and then they stopped.
Interesting. Interesting. He said Asian restaurants also dumped live ones in South Florida.
Could
That's
be.
okay.
There's so many like many people assume like okay they were pets dumped off or people brought them as a food source. Who knows? Could be either one. Could be both.
So this is an interesting question, and this is coming from me. Like you hear of invasive species, like have you guys noticed, obviously they've been around for what, 20 years basically
They
now?
have, yeah.
And like have you guys noticed any decline in the other species of fish populations like bass or bluegill or something like that? Or
No, there's actually a spot I go to, and there's a lot of snakeheads, a lot of pressure there. People go there for snakeheads. There's still bass. There's a massive amount of crappies there, perch.
okay.
So I always worried like okay they're going to outpace and like what do I want to say outcompete other fish for food and they're going to kill them
Okay.
off.
Sure, sure, sure,
But
sure.
I haven't really seen that. I
Okay.
can't be 100% that it's not going to be true someday. But they all eat each other's babies, so the snakeheads are really surely producing a lot of babies to eat. And like I said, like it's not like they're gonna come up and there's a bass eating their babies. They're gonna come in and snap them in half, and the bass is gonna be dead. They're gonna eat what they can fit in their mouth. They're not gonna voraciously kill everything.
I get it. I get it. I mean, the reason I ask is because, like, here in the Midwest, like, our big invasive species right now is Asian carp. Like, the Great Lakes, obviously, we all know is world-renowned fisheries. Whether you're talking Superior, Michigan, Erie, any of them, and they're really worried because they're working their way up the Illinois River and they're trying to prevent them from getting into Lake Michigan, which Lake Michigan, for those of you that may not know, is like a huge salmon and trout fishery, along with trophy smallmouth bass, walleyes up north, things like that. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, like fishing industry in Lake Michigan, and they're worried that the Asian carp. Obviously, there's been many issues again, kind of, and this is why I'm bringing it up. Is like you're talking about snakeheads having multiple reproduction cycles, and Asian carp do the same thing. They're like mice. They like, reproduce like crazy, and they eat a lot of the eggs, from my understanding. The one time I had a conversation with a DNR biologist, so it's interesting to see like these different invasive species coming into our waterways, and like some, like the snakehead, aren't really doing any effect to the other species of native fish, whereas others are, I guess, is where I was going with that.
That's actually an interesting point. Like, I mean, largemouth bass are invasive too, if you really want to consider it that
Sure.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah.
introduced, and our state in New Jersey actually bowfin are supposed to be native fish,
Okay.
prehistoric fish, but they actually said they're not sure if they are or not at this point.
Okay.
So the bowfin's very similar to the snakehead. So I don't know where they're going with that, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's almost like they don't really know but they're telling you, like, they don't say to kill the bowfin. They just say don't, kill the snakeheads.
Interesting. Interesting. How close are those two? Because I've caught a bowfin
They're
before
they're really
on the
close.
Mississippi River, like very similar, because they
Yeah,
got teeth almost the same
yeah.
way.
It's pretty similar. I've caught both. I think that like when you catch a bowfin, they tend to dig deep in the water, and the snakeheads tend to go aerial. That's
Okay.
another reason why I don't like being in a sit-in kayak, because I've had my husband hook a snakehead, and it actually jumped out 2 times, jumped out of the water into my kayak. And flopping around. I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do?
That'll wake you up, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the same way with Asian carp. And I saw a question in here from Nicholas Venable. He said, how do you keep the carp out? Well, they're trying to figure out ways, like as far as like electric fences and stuff like that. But then they're worried about, um, hurting other species of fish. And the alligator gar is actually native to Illinois. So they've been doing these huge restocking programs with the alligator gar. And what they've realized is the alligator gar actually forage on Asian carp.
Oh,
So they've been doing a little bit more of restocking of of alligator gar because
cool.
of that fact, which is kind of unique. But
Nature
that
has a remedy.
yeah, it's wild because you're talking about snakehead jumping in your boat. Like I know Kentucky Lake has really taken a downturn from these Asian carp because they're in there, and you'll see guys, and even on the Illinois River here, you'll see guys running in their boats, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you see like hundreds of these things
I've
like jumping
seen
out.
those videos.
Yeah.
That's
Guys are out there
insane.
with nets
Hitting the
trying to
face with
net
the
them.
fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like I know a few people have like gotten knocked out from like
That's
flying
insane.
across the lake, and fish jumps out, hits them in the head. So it's kind of crazy. James O'Neill asked, do they have any land natural predators like cats, bears, anything like that would actually go after them? Do you know of any offhand?
What's that?
Like it would in your area would like a bobcat or I don't know, coyote, something like that go after those things?
Snakeheads?
Yeah.
I guess if they come up on land, if they start crawling on land like everybody thinks they do,
All right. All right. All right.
I don't know. I mean, they do stay shallow. I've caught them in like really shallow water, but I don't know. I guess everything's fair game.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Nicholas Beltran says it all balances out.
I think so. Life finds a way.
He said the ones down there eat iguanas. That's interesting.
Oh, aren't they?
Okay.
The iguanas are evasive, right?
I I believe so.
Yeah, I think they.
The iguanas are, but there's like a little gecko or lizard or something um, that is native to down there, I
Yeah, I
believe.
think everything pretty much does balance out. And these snakeheads, I really think at this point they should be considered a game fish. I might be pushing the button a little bit, but
Okay.
they're not going anywhere. They really are not going anywhere. I mean, you got the Delaware, where I am, the Delaware River. Every tributary of the Delaware River holds them. So
Okay. Okay.
it's kind of quite a daunting task to try to kill everything single one. Like I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. 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 John Walters says eagles and hawks have been seen eating them. So I could see that.
Cool.
Birds like to eat fish.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Uh, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mark Savage is in
There
the
he
chat.
is.
He says, "How has a kayak helped your snakehead fishing?"
Oh my God, immensely. I like to say that no one told me to get this kayak. No one persuaded me to get it. The snakehead. That is who chose my kayak. Because I
So,
needed that open deck space.
what is it about the open deck space that makes it easier? Just because they're so ferocious and like landing the fish and then unhooking them? Like,
It's definitely, it's so much easier to handle them. Like I knew what I wanted after, dealing with those fish. I'm like, I need a space that I could actually get them, net them, bring them up, unhook them, grip them, whatever I got to do with them.
You mean, I guess with a fish like that with a mouth full of teeth as sharp as they are, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't want to put that inside a
No.
sit inside a kayak.
No, I've had them in there multiple times and it's not pleasant.
Come home with a few bite marks, and it's just like, yeah, that wasn't the funnest event.
Sometimes I think maybe that's what I need to do though, because every year I swear they freak me out. I'm like, oh, why am I afraid of these fish still? Like, do I just need to get bit? Maybe I should lip one.
Well, I think this is a good point. Craig Berchier says snakehead lose their mind when you take them out of the water.
They
So I
do.
can only imagine, like up here, like yeah, we do have. Uh, God, why am I forgetting the name of them? They're almost the same as snakehead. We were just talking about them. The fish. Anyways,
Mus-
other than that, what's that?
musky?
No, not musky.
Oh,
Bowfin. Bowfin. We
bowfin,
got
bowfin,
bowfin up
bowfin.
here.
Okay.
But you don't have like huge populations of them. There are a few areas that
Mhm.
have huge populations of them. But I think the closest thing that we have that have the ferocious teeth would be like a northern pike or a
Yeah.
muskie. So I can kind of relate to that because you take a northern pike out and it's slimy and it just wants to flop all over the
Yeah.
place. And so here's a great question: are snakeheads like a northern pike and a muskie? They have an anticoagulant in their mouth and on their teeth. So like if
Mm.
you get cut by them, like it stops you from clotting up and you like bleed for hours. Is it the same
Really?
way? Yeah.
I don't know because I've never been bit, and I hope I never am.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like northern pike, and I'm pretty sure it's muskie as well. They have an anticoagulant in their mouth where like if you get nicked, and I've
No.
dealt with it personally, like it takes twice as long
Oh
for
my
you to
gosh.
clot up.
I would like to think that snakeheads did have that because they really want to kill you.
Yeah. um Nicholas Beltran is asking what type of rods and equipment do you use to catch those? So I guess let's go with rod, reel, line, and we already talked about baits.
Well, I prefer like a 7 foot medium heavy rod. Castaway rod's what I use mostly. Something
Okay.
with a really strong backbone. I'm a spinning girl, so I don't. And people make fun of me because they're like, "You need to be using a bait caster." And I'm like, I'm very comfortable with the spinning reel, thank you. And 20 pound braid. 20 pound braid's what I use.
Okay. So you don't have to use like super heavy, like 40 to 80 pound braid or
No,
anything for these
no.
things. Okay. 20
I
is
only use that
sufficient.
on trout. I'm just kidding. No, trout's my bane. Like trout,
Okay.
for some reason, I always have a hard time with trout. I've
Yeah.
lost a lot of trophies.
It, they're super finicky.
Yeah,
They have really great eyesight.
they
Like,
do. They're annoying.
I mean, I, I'm about to turn 40, right? And like
Oh, lucky you.
my vision is not that great. And like it seems like every year I go fly fishing and I'm using like what is
Yep.
it? 4x or 8x.
Hmm.
It's 8x tippet in some of the creeks up here and I'm like using a number 20 like midge and you're
You're
like
yeah, you're
there's a
like
hole
granny
in that
knotting
hook.
it because you can't do anything else.
Right, exactly. I'm like can't see it. I can't see it.
Well, you know
So
what my eye doctor said? Once you hit 40, you need glasses. No matter what. You could have
that's
20/20 vision all your life. You need glasses at 40.
that's what everybody tells me. My brother's got glasses, both my folks,
Hmm.
my wife, both of my kids. I don't have them and I probably should. So I know it's coming. I
The
know it's
dollar
coming.
store, great glasses at the dollar store.
There we go. There we go. Um, what did I missed it? I know Mr. Lintzman was in here. He said snakehead is a bucket list fish for him. He's from Upper Michigan. Nicholas Beltran said in Florida they actually do mini tournaments down there for snakeheads. He said, "Imagine us putting them on a board." Yeah, I
Yeah,
could see that being a
we
little sketch.
we've had a few. We've had a few tournaments around like local, and there's been a few online tournaments, and I really think I want to jump in some of them this year.
So they are doing like snakehead, like
Yeah.
catch and release tournaments.
Oh
That's
yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Is it like kayak only, or like kayaks, boats, and whatever else you want to use, or
You
is
know,
it
I
more snake specific, or is it vessel specific? I guess.
well, I knew of like one or two local that was bank fishing, But
Okay.
most of the online ones I think are kayak fishing.
Sweet. That's very
So,
cool. I like seeing that, like the different species tournaments. Like I know kayak catfish tournaments have become a big thing. Uh, sounds like snakeheads are doing that. Craig Brashear says Northern Virginia does a bunch of snakehead tournaments. Florida's doing them, so it's cool. It's cool. I like that. I've seen panfish tournaments too, which is always cool.
I like
Seeing a bunch of
panfish.
people putting bluegills and crappies on there. So, that's super cool. When you're chasing trout, is that like tidal waters that you're chasing them in, or is it
No,
freshwater streams in your area?
I'm doing stock lakes only.
Okay, okay.
So, I
Like
mean,
deep, deep
there's
clear lakes.
no, we got some muddy lakes in Jersey.
Okay,
So
okay.
they really don't see the line, so it doesn't matter as much. We don't have these pristine streams. It's mostly a lot of mud, but they do catch on. Like after like a week or two, they get smart and they know what you're doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Uh, Mr. DeVries down at Eastport Marina said you get bonus points if you don't bleed to death in a snakehead tournament. He's referring to
Well, I guess
and
they do that. Have the what is that?
coagulant.
Anticoagulant.
Yeah, something. It's something along those lines.
Okay.
Nicholas says he keeps blood clotting powder in every first aid kit.
Oh, good. Like when you nick yourself shaving, that little
Yeah,
thing.
I should probably add that to my first aid kit because
Yeah.
I'm prone on those pike to like get nicked and bleed for hours. But no, it's cool. Kind of winding down here. I always throw this question at first time guests on the podcast. I didn't forewarn you of this, so if you've seen the shows before, you may have heard this. You got a Frontier 12. It's rigged up tandem. You could fish with anyone dead or alive for a day. Who's it going to be?
My husband's gonna kill me, but
He'll get
Mike
over it.
Mike Iconelli.
I like it. I like it. That's very cool. Huge fan of Mike. Well, he's a Jersey boy, right?
He is, and I've met him on several occasions. He's a really cool dude. He's a great guy. Does a lot for kids
Yeah,
fishing.
he does. That's one of the things I was going to do or say was he does a lot for the fishing community in general. I know a lot of people don't like him because of his wild attitude, but
Yeah.
I mean
You know what?
that.
His wife has really tamed him down a lot. She's really she's changed
Yeah.
his persona definitely, and he's one hell of a fisherman because I think if you could fish in Jersey, you could
You can
fish
fish
anywhere.
anywhere. See, it's interesting because you get into some of these northern states, and a lot of folks say the same thing. Like we got a lot of hammers from Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, over in the Northeast. I mean, there's a list of anglers a mile long from the Northeast that all do really well in these tournaments, and definitely agree. Like going down south and fishing sometimes is easier than trying to
Yeah.
find fish up here in the north.
I
Like,
mean, they had that Bassmasters event here and
hmm
on the Big D,
yeah,
and a lot of people blanked out. They just did not know what to do.
that's
They were
cool.
like, "Ooh, Kevin Van Dam." I remember trying to go over and see him. I'm like, Kevin Van Dam, can I get a picture? And he's like, like, no. I got beached when the tide went down.
Oh
It was
man.
crazy.
Oh man. It's Iconelli, man. It's one of those things I was thinking about recently. I remember being in high school interested in bass fishing, and he was like the one kid that, or I mean, I guess he was a kid at that time, really stuck out to me and really brought me into the likings of bass fishing in general and fishing in general. Like just having that wild, crazy mentality, attitude, like I really latched onto that as a outrageous teenager, So I owe a lot of my fishing drive, so to speak, to him. He's done so much for the fishing community, whether it be getting folks like myself into it, young kids, bringing some of the older folks back into it and get more serious about it. So that's a great question. I think that's the first first Mike Iaconelli to that question.
Well, next time you catch a bass, you got to scream like them.
Yeah, I've been known to do that once or twice. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. But no, super cool. We're winding down here. It's been amazing chatting with you. I know that one of the last things I wanted to touch on is you do some writing stuff as well. We were talking before the show. So, like, where can folks go and see some of the stuff you write about, the content you're writing about fishing related, and then also your YouTube as well?
Well, right now I've been writing a lot for Cast King. So if you go to castking.com fishing stories, you can see some of the things I've written. In the past, I've written for different magazines, but I don't know if you're going to find them. I don't think they're online.
Okay.
My YouTube channel is Jersey Girl Fishing, as well as my Instagram channel is Jersey Girl Fishing. So you can find me there. So I'm trying to build it up.
Very cool. Very cool. And like for your YouTube channel, is it just like a lot of your trips? Are you doing like tips and tricks, like things like that, or
It's
kind of
mostly-
all the above?
It's mostly my goofy trips.
Okay.
Really.
Okay. I like it.
You,
I
you
like
could
it.
watch me. You could watch me flip out of a F10, but the F10 just stays stable. I fall out, kayak's still there.
So you didn't flip the boat; you just fell out of it.
No, I did one of those things where I was like in a rush. My husband put his kayak on top of mine. I didn't take the seat. I took a little tripod seat. I make like one cast. I'm in the water. I guess the legs were in the right position. I'm like, what was I thinking?
I hear you. That can happen. That can happen. Coolers. You gotta sit on a
Coolers.
cooler.
That's a good idea. Stable. Four
Yeah.
corners.
Exactly. But that's super cool. Everybody go check out Jersey Girl Fishing on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that alert button, right? That's the drill. I
think so.
haven't made a YouTube video in a hot minute, so I
It's
need
hard.
to get back
It
into
ain't
that.
easy. I haven't made any either. We have ice everywhere, so I'm not really going out fishing right now.
I know what you're talking about. Before I left for Florida, I went out on the ice, caught some gills and crappies and a little bass. We had 10 inches of ice, and then 2 days later, I was fishing open water in Florida, and I was like,
Wow.
this is kind of crazy right now.
What'd you catch down there?
Down in Florida, a bunch of largemouth. Nothing huge. I think the biggest one I caught was like 17 inches. So,
No peacock bass?
I did not do peacock. My man Nicholas Beltran in the chat here, he is the king of peacock bass. If you guys aren't following him, go follow him. Nicholas, I know you're in here. Put your YouTube channel in there. He's got tons of videos. It's Tackle Adventure Fishing, I think, is his YouTube.
I'm coming down
I
there
always forget.
someday.
I'm subscribed. I don't look at the name. I just know it's Nick, and I watch the videos. But he invited you down. He said you should come down.
I'm going to hit him up. I got to catch a peacock bass.
Go catch peacocks and snakeheads. He's the guy.
And bullseyes, yeah.
He's the man. Yep. Yeah, he said bullseye snakeheads. Yeah, I see that in the chat there.
Come up here, catch some northerns, man.
There you go. There you go. See?
Trade off.
That's what it's about, helping the community out. So, real quick, last thing. What's the kayak shop you work with, and what's their kind of inventory on new canoes right now? And if somebody's in your area and they want to get into a new canoe, where could they go to find those folks?
Well, we're Bait and Hook is my local dealer in Sicklerville, New Jersey. I'm not exactly sure what they have in there right now. They usually have like 3 kayaks, I think, at the most.
Okay. Okay.
I know the last time I was there, they had a F12, a Flint, a F10. But
Okay.
I'm sure they have an unlimited this year.
Nice. Small hometown shop. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Very cool. Well, you guys, if you guys are in the New Jersey area, go check them out. I'm sure if they don't have the boat you're looking for, they could definitely order it for you, get it shipped out on their next shipment. But very cool. Very cool. Mark is in the chat. He says bait and hook getting a bunch in a few weeks.
Okay.
So they'll
Yeah.
be stocked up,
That
ready to
supply
go.
chain, I'm telling you. I mean, everything that's going on.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, people wanting kayaks. Yeah, it's been tough.
It's been tough across the board, not only like new canoes, but all the other manufacturers. Like the shop I work with, they carry several brands, and it's not only the new canoes, it's the bona fides, the old towns, the natives, I know Hobie had issues. Feel free, all the companies across the board.
I hope we're coming out of it. I really do. I think we probably are at this point.
Yeah.
But I know when this first started, this pandemic, like everyone took up fishing. Everyone took up fishing. Like I was like, oh my god, all these people are fishing. Don't they work? Oh wait, they're not working right now.
Bait and Hook is actually in the chat, and they said they got 17 on the way in.
Wow. So okay.
They're getting stocked up. They're
locked in.
Locked and loaded, ready to take care of you folks. So
actually, I work with someone who really wants one, so he's probably going to come in and get one. He for me, I was talking it up, and he's probably going to be on his way.
Nice, very cool. See, we're selling boats for you right here, right now, Bait and Hook.
Oh yeah, 17 boats.
We'll get those sold out in no time flat.
They'll be gone.
Sandi, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down, chat, let the folks know how to get to know you, what you do. Definitely got an education on some northern snakeheads tonight, which has been a hot topic lately, and I'm glad we got to talk about it, and I'm glad we finally got to make this show work.
Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it. I appreciate New Canoe. I am so thrilled to be on the team. I can't believe that a small town girl from Camden, New Jersey is on the team, but thank you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate
no problem.
It.
No problem at all. Boys and girls tuned in at home. If you tuned in late, you can always go back, rewatch on Facebook, YouTube. If you're a podcast person, you could always go to any major podcast platform, search New Canoes Unlimited. As soon as the show ends, I upload it to all the major platforms. You can catch it there on your drive to the work, on the drive to the boat ramp, or while you're at work not wanting to work. How about that? So, but we appreciate all you guys. We will see you next week. We're here every Tuesday, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. As always, boys and girls, tight lines, smooth paddle. Peace.